Quran Scientific Miracles That Will Blow Your Mind. By Nadeem Ahmed Khan. Islam for All YouTube channel. The Scientific Miracles in Quran. The Quran is filled with miracles, including scientific information proven by modern discoveries. Miracles in the Quran include things like accurate predictions and information about the creation of the universe. This page lists some of the scientific miracles of the Quran. About miracles. Allah, SWT, armed every prophet with a miracle in Quran ayat to prove his prophethood and convince his nation about the existence of Allah. Allah mentioned all of those miracles in the Quran. Jesus's miracle was the dead's resurrection. Moses's was the stick that turned into a snake. And Solomon was able to understand the language of animals and birds. But Muhammad's solo miracle was the Quran. Quran isn't merely a historical or sermonical manuscript, but a sacred book shrouded with mysteries scientists have yet to decipher. Those miracles are scientific, and they're also called ijaz in Arabic. In the article, we'll shed light on the miracles of the Quran that intrigued scientists and solidified their belief in Allah. We hope you'll find it interesting and worthy to read. 1. Every living thing is created from water. Allah, SWT, said in Quran, "And we created from water every living thing." Al-Anbiya, 30. Allah has created every moving creature from water. Now scientists discovered after many experiments that cytoplasm, the basic substance of the cell, is made up of 80% water. Also, modern science has revealed that the bodies of most organisms consist of 50 to 90% water, and every living creature needs water to survive. Of course, that fact wasn't revealed until recently, but Quran has mentioned it 1400 years ago. Quran miracles water is the source of everything. 2. The communication system between ants. Quran has talked about the lifestyle of ants in Surah Al-Naml. Solomon was once on the move with them, until when they reached a valley of ants, one of the ants said, "O ants, get into your holes, lest Solomon and his hosts crush you under their feet without even knowing." In the past, some people mocked this verse, claiming it's a fairy tale. However, scientific research revealed several intriguing facts about the lifestyle of ants, which were not known before to mankind, and it has shown that they imitate human behaviors in many aspects. For example, ants similarly bury their dead to humans. Also, they have so sophisticated laboring system wherein they're divided into managers, supervisors, foremen, and workers. What's more intriguing is that they have a market in which they bid and exchange goods. Not to mention that they pile up foods during summers and take them to stores to feed in the harsh winters. Very humanistic behaviors. Quran miracles the communication system in ants. 3. The most fragile house is spiders. Quran mentioned the house of the spider as the most fragile of all. Allah said in Surah Al-Ankabut, "Let's say what science talked about that. The house of a spider is composed of thin tangled threads that are easy to be broken and don't block the sun's rays nor provide protection from predators." Also, Quran mentioned the female spider in particular as she sews this house by stimulating its silky glands. While the spider male helps it a little, the responsibility of building the house relies on the female. Quran miracles the spider's web. 4. Everything is made in pairs. Allah said in Quran, "And of everything, we created two." The word pair isn't limited to male and female but includes everything and its opposite. Life and death, sky and earth, happiness and sadness, body and soul, light and darkness. There are numerous examples to mention. This verse refers definitely to everything, even those. 5. The darkness of the ocean. Allah said in Surah Al-Nur, "Are their deeds like the darkness in a deep sea, covered by waves upon waves, one topped by dark clouds. Darkness upon darkness. If one stretches out their hand, they can hardly see it. And whoever Allah does not bless with light will have no light." After the invention of submarines, and with the aid of practical equipment, it's revealed that in the depth of the ocean, there's total darkness. The ocean is very deep, and while the top layers can absorb the lights of sunrays, they couldn't travel too deep. As light energy moves through the layers of water, the molecules of water absorb and scatter it. So, when reaching the depth, it becomes so faded that if someone takes his hand out of the pocket he couldn't see it. 6. Male determines the sex of the fetus. Traditionally, and for a long time, it's thought that females are responsible for determining the sex of the newborn. However, science revealed sex determination is associated with the type of sperms. Every human has 46 chromosomes in his/her DNA that shape his own physical features, including whether he will grow to be female or male. While all ovums carry one typical chromosome X, some of the sperms carry chromosome X and the others carry chromosome Y. During fertilization, if the sperm carrying chromosome X impregnates the ovum, the embryo will grow to be female XX. But if it carries chromosome Y, then, the family will wait for a male. Quran has mentioned the complex process of fertilization in a simple word. Were they not once a sperm drop emitted? Al-Qiyamah 37. A small drop of sperm is indicated by the word which comes from man. 7. The intangible barrier between fresh and salty water. Allah SWT said in Surah Al-Rahman, "He merged the two bodies of water, converging together. Between them is a barrier that they do not overrun." The word barzakh means a partition or a barrier, while marg means both seas meet at a cross point, but this non-physical barrier prevents any of them from transgressing over the other and changes its nature. After advances in science, oceanographers have reached that each sea has its temperature, density, and salinity, and when two seas meet, the frontal body of water of each fuses with that of the other, and both lose their distinctive features and get homogenized. That homogenized area is indicated in Quran by the word barzakh. The Quran mentioned that scientific miracle in another part, and set a barrier between fresh and salt bodies of water. If Quran was made up by Muhammad as atheists pretend, how does an illiterate man get that fact in that early period of history? 8. The creation of the universe. Allah described the creation of the universe, saying, "He turned towards heaven when it was still like smoke, saying to it and the earth, 'Submit, willingly or unwillingly.' They both responded, 'We submit willingly.'" Professor Yoshihide Kozai was fascinated by the astronomical facts in the Quran regarding the creation. All scientific signs and evidence are converging to indicate that at some point in history, the sky was nothing but a cloud of smoke. Scientists were thinking that sky was made of fog since creation, but they were staggered by the formation of a star in the sky out of that smoke that dates to the origin of the universe. Thereafter, Kozai added the list of Quran miracles to a new one. 9. The creation of the fetus. There are many verses in the Quran that describe the creation of the fetus, first in Surah Al-Insan. "Indeed, we created man from a sperm drop mixture." The Arabic word natieftan amshajan means a mingled liquid. According to the interpreters of the Quran, mingled liquid refers to the male and female agents or liquids. After the infusion of male and female, Liquids, the zygote, the initial phase of a fetus, is still nutfa. Also, mingled liquid may refer to the spermatic fluid that's formed from various secretions from different glands. Another verse in Surah Al-Mu'minin 12-14. Then we made the sperm drop into a clinging clot, and we made the clot into a lump of flesh, and we made the lump of flesh into bones, and we covered the bones with flesh, then we developed it into another creation. So blessed be God, the best of creators. 23:12 We created man out of the extract of clay. 23:13 Then we made him into a drop of life germ. Then we placed it in a safe depository. 23:14 Then we made this drop into a clot. Then we made the clot into a lump. Then we made the lump into bones. Then we clothed the bones with flesh. 12 And then we caused it to grow into another creation. 13 Thus most blessed is Allah, the best of all those that create. 14. 10. The expansion of the universe. In the 20th century, physicists and astronomers discovered that galaxies continuously diverge from each other at various speeds that approach the Moon's speed. 300 kilometers sec. And the expansion of the universe requires energy and substance in a continuous process to fill in the vastness left between the moving galaxies. In his book, A Brief Time of History, Stephen Hawking wrote that the discovery of the universe expansion is one of the great intellectual revolutions of the 20th century. This fact was mentioned in Quran 1400 years ago, as Allah said, "We built the universe with great might, and we are certainly expanding it." Surah Ad-Dariyat 47:11. The creation of mountains. Allah talked about the creation of mountains in various positions in the Quran. We'll present each verse with the scientific evidence which underpins it. In Surah An-Naba, Allah described mountains, saying made the mountains as its pegs. Another depiction was in Surah Al-Nahl 15. And he has affixed into the earth mountains standing firm, lest it should shake with you. The earth we live on is known specifically as the crust, a solid thin layer ranging between 1 to 30 miles, while the depth of the earth is hot and fluid. Since the crust is thin, it has a high possibility of shaking due to two tablets' friction in the deep layers. Thus, mountains act like stakes or pegs that hold the earth's crust and give it stability. Also, mountains act as props for the Earth during its orbit so it doesn't lose its balance. 12. The flight of birds. It's dumbfounding that young birds, even without prior experience, can travel long distances and return as it knows every movement previously. When scientists researched the flight of birds, they discovered a migratory program embedded in the genetic code of birds that explain how young babies can travel long distance and return to the departure point without any guide. Did they not see the birds held, flying, amid the sky? None holds them but Allah, none gave them the ability to fly but Allah. Verily, in this are clear proofs and signs for people who believe. Surah An-Nahl Ayat 79. The linguistic miracles of the Quran. Language is the miracle of the Quran and the challenge Allah defies people with it explicitly, as he said in Surah Al-Isra 88. Say, if mankind and the jinn gathered in order to produce the like of this Quran, they could not produce the like of it, even if they were to each other assistants. In this article, we'll shed light on a few examples of the linguistic miracles in the Quran, as it will be hard to collect all of what's written about this topic in one article. The word in Surah Al-Rum Dave. Allah SWT said, Allah is He who created you from weakness, then made after weakness strength, then made after strength weakness and gray hair. He creates what He wills, and He is the knowing, the competent. The word daif is repeated 3 times and it's undefined. The rule says if an undefined word is repeated more than 1 time, then it denotes a different meaning. And that's true as there are 3 types of fragility daif. The first daif when the human is still nutfa, zygote, that's resulted from mingled liquids. The second daif is childhood since the human in the case is helpless and counts on his parents to sustain him. The third daif is aging as human health deteriorates and he needs care from others surrounding him. 2. The anostrophe in Surah Al-Amran. And if you are killed in the cause of Allah or die, forgiveness from Allah and mercy are better than what they accumulate. 157. And if you die or are killed, to Allah you will be gathered. 158. This verse is revealed in the Battle of Uhud. Anostrophe is noticed in this verse. The word qutiltum precedes mutum in the first verse as death for the sake of Allah is more glorified than normal death almat. And that's not the case in the second verse that begins with mutum before qutiltum as it's in the general context of death, and since most people die on their bed, then the word mat comes first. 3. Using the words zaj and amra. In Quran, when the woman is infertile or hasn't given birth, Allah refers to it with the word amra, while when she passes through pregnancy, she's referred to zaj. For example, when Zacharias supplicated to Allah to give him a child, he said, "And my wife was barren, so grant me from yourself an heir." Maryam 5. He said, "My Lord, how will I have a boy when I have reached old age and my wife is barren?" Al-Imran. The word Aqir describes the woman who is futile, and when Allah answered Zachariah, he said, "So we responded to him and granted him John and made his wife good for him." Al-Anbiya. 90. Allah created everything in pairs with the purpose of life continuity, and that can't be accomplished without reproduction. Thus, when there is a dysfunction in this system, the woman is referred to as Amra. The second case wherein the word Amra is used instead of Zaj is treason. Marriage in Islam is based on 3 foundations: settlement, mercy, and affection, and treason destroys them. For example, Allah described Noah's wife and Lot's wife by Amra not Zaj as they were disbelievers in Allah and disobey their messages. The wife of Noah and the wife of Lot were under 2 of our righteous servants, but they betrayed them, so they did not avail them at all against Allah. At-Tahrim. 10. 1. The contrast. It's noticed that some specific words share the same frequency in Quran exactly. The word dunya is mentioned 115 times, and the word akira is mentioned 115. The word malaika and its derivatives were mentioned 88 times, and the word shayatan is mentioned 88 times. The word Iblis is mentioned 11 times, and Alastiadhat min is repeated 11 times. The word al-abrar is mentioned 6 times while al-fahar is mentioned 3 times. The word aljar and its derivatives are mentioned 16 times, and the word alayalania and its derivatives are mentioned 16 times. The word al-muzaba and its derivatives are mentioned 75 times, and the word al-sukar and its derivatives are mentioned 75 times. The word al-aqal and its derivatives are mentioned 49 times, and the word al-nur and its derivatives are mentioned 49 times. The word al-dahab and its derivatives are mentioned 8 times, and the word al-tarif and its derivatives are mentioned 8 times. The word al-jaza its derivatives are mentioned 117 times, and the word al-mafira and its derivatives are mentioned 234 times. The word alam singular and not added to a word is repeated 360 times, alam 349 times, and human 16 times. 2. The number of prayers and rak'at. The sentence is repeated 5 times, and that's the typical number of the 5 prayers. The sentence Akimu al-Salah is repeated 12 times, thus if we added this number to the number of Akam al-Salah, we'll find the total number is 17, 5 plus 12 equals 17, and that's typically the number of rak'at a Muslim perform in his day. 3. Adam and Jesus. The word Jesus is repeated 25 times, and that's an equivalent number to how the word Adam is repeated in Quran. And Allah said in Surah Al-Imran, 59. Indeed, the example of Jesus in the sight of Allah is like that of Adam. He created him from dust, then said to him, Be. And he was. Ayat 59. Conclusion. The Quran is said to be miraculous because of the numerous references in its text to scientific phenomena that were not yet known at the time. Over 300 verses are mentioning natural phenomena, many of which refer to scientific ideas that were not developed until centuries later. In this article, you've known miracles of science in the Quran and how they conform to science, besides knowing the linguistic and numerical miracles of the Quran. Contact this Islam for All YouTube channel.